keep trying to tell y'all, ain't no crew better than the Sakamoto crew. Sakamoto Days is one of those animes that's adapting the story in the Cour format. And if you need a breakdown of what a Cour is or any other anime term, then I already have a video on that, so go check that out. But at any rate, Cour 2 / the second half of this story dropped at a terrible time for me, so I actually waited until it was all over and I binged it at once. And Cour 2 made it even more clear why this is the #1 crew. Not the strongest, not the loudest, but the best built. If you hit that like button right now, you're basically telling me that you're part of the crew too. Quick recap, Sakamoto Days follows Taro Sakamoto, a legendary retired assassin who suddenly finds himself back on the wanted list. While trying to survive attacks from other hitmen, he still refuses to break his family's #1 rule, no killing. Along the way, he picks up a few, at times misguided, strays. Shin the clairvoyant, Lu the mafia connected and absolutely not built for this life, Heisuke the hip shooting deadshot, and most recently and unofficially, Nagumo. And there you have it, that's the setup. So Cour 2 is where things really start to tighten up. The story moves into more structured plot, at least to me, with the Sakamoto family trying to unravel a conspiracy while Taro is still very much wanted. Their goal is tracking down Slur, the mastermind targeting former assassins and the one who put the bounty on Taro's head. So the question becomes, how do the crew dynamics shift, and why does this lock them in as one of my top crews? Now, truthfully, in most hitman or crime stories, leaders are ruthless, right? They're feared, that's how people fall in line, but Sakamoto flips that completely. People follow Taro because they trust him, because they see his vision, and because the rules don't just apply to everyone else, they apply to him too. As much as a leader leads, they should also be willing to follow. And Taro does exactly that. The rules he puts in place, he lives by them himself. And that's the difference between just being a group and being an actual crew. And Cour 2 really puts that philosophy to the test. Comment your favorite member of the crew. I'll start. Shin is my #1, and you probably wouldn't guess this, but Heisuke is my #2. So where does Sakamoto Days really get the crew dynamic right in Cour 2? Well, let's start with the man himself. Taro knows he can't save everyone, but he can save the people who actually want to be saved. In Cour 2, that moves us into the JCC transfer exam arc where Sakamoto and Shin are infiltrating to get closer to Slur. The very first challenge they have is stealing bullets off of instructors on a plane. Now look, the family rule says no killing. It ain't say nothing about throwing them hands. And once again, they put belt to. But even here, in true Taro fashion, we can see him helping people who are clearly in over their heads. He has that kind of radar for people who aren't just rotten to the core on the inside. That's how he meets Akira, the niece of his former classmate and close friend Ryan. Another person caught in a world she didn't ask for, and another person that Taro refuses to abandon. Taro is a leader. And then there's Shin. Shin has a rough past, and Cour 2 shows him actually confronting that trauma and, starting to work through it. He's actually making the biggest 180 in terms of growth to me. And the biggest upgrade for him actually isn't his raw strength, it's more of his self-awareness. He's able to identify his weaknesses and puts in the work to make them better. He doesn't want to be rescued by Taro anymore. He wants to be able to save himself and others. That growth and maturity is what happens to the people around Taro. Shin is inspired. Now you might be wondering, how is this the best crew when Cour 2 really only focuses on Taro and Shin? Not so fast. Because here's the thing, every single one of these people could leave at any time. So why don't they? Lu ended up with the family by pure chance. Literally fell out of the sky. She comes from an incredibly dangerous background, and we already had a mini arc with Shin and Taro trying to keep her from being reverse kidnapped back into the family. She truly feels the loyalty the most. Shin and Taro were on the front lines, keeping her safe every step of the way. Lu is protected. Heisuke is a free spirit. He doesn't even work at the shop half the time. He just be out frolicking around with his bird. But Cour 2 proves how important he actually is. He plays a key role in luring Kamihate into a fight, which becomes crucial in learning more about Slur, and they gain him as a temporary ally. Now, Heisuke also trains with Sakamoto, very dangerously I might add, but that's part of how we see both of them developing their skills this Cour. Heisuke is valued. Nagumo is still very much in and out out. He's definitely the wild card of the bunch, and he's not officially part of the family. And I won't speculate too hard because I'm not a manga reader for this series yet. But what's clear is this: he chooses to help. Even with having his own agenda and working covertly, he still aids Shin and helps him tap into the deeper potential of his powers. And despite being a walking wildcard, Taro still allows him close because Taro sees his true intentions. Nagumo is trusted. So now you see, this is a crew inspired, protected, valued, and trusted, and led. People who are not being forced or intimidated to stay, but are inspired and choosing to stay. They're part of the fold, the family, the bond. Everybody has a role to play, and they look to Taro as an obtainable life, despite where they come from. That's why I said what I said at the beginning. Ain't no crew better than the Sakamoto crew. Ain't no crew like the Sakamoto crew. You can't do it like they do it. Period. I'm already ready for the next arc, the next cour, the next season, whatever, and I hope you will watch and tune in with me too. If you stumbled upon this video first, I have another that talks about how the crew first got started. Watch that and then compare to where they are now. And don't forget to subscribe. When one arc ends, another one begins. See you next time.